Good afternoon, boys and girls and educators. I am so excited to welcome you here virtually to the TCEA headquarters in Austin, Texas to meet with our very special guest today, Santa Claus. My name is Lori Gracie and I'm the Executive Director of TCEA, which is a nonprofit organization that supports the use of technology in the classroom. We've been working with St. Nick here for many, many years. Today, he is in our building to learn about some new apps that he can use on his Christmas Eve journey around the world. And while he's here, he has happily agreed to talk with you, to read one of his favorite books to you, and to answer a few of your questions. So sit back, boys and girls, and listen carefully because Santa may even call some of you by name. Santa, welcome to TCEA. We're so thrilled to have you with us today to meet some of your fans.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas, boys and girls. It is so wonderful to be in Austin again. Texas is one of my favorite places on the planet, and my friends at TCEA always make me feel so welcome. We're very warm here in Austin this afternoon, and at the North Pole at home, it is blowing snow and freezing, almost a December blizzard. But don't worry, the elves have everything under control, and everything in the warehouse and the workshop is climate controlled to make sure that we are ready for you when it comes time for the Christmas Eve deliveries. Well, my host mentioned one of my favorite stories, and I picked the book Santa's Sleigh is on its way to Texas, a Christmas adventure. I hope that you like Christmas stories as much as I do. They help spur the imagination and spark new thoughts to see everything clean and bright and merry and light at Christmas time. Now, I want you to know that this book is by Eric James and it's illustrated by Robert Dunn. Do you know the word illustrated? That's the artist who is doing the wonderful pictures that go along with the writer's words that help our eyes understand the story as we read to ourselves and read to each other. Oh, and one of the best ways to share Christmas stories is to read it aloud so that your ears hear what you're saying. And it's even more fun when you read aloud and share a story with a friend. So let me begin with my friends across Texas today by reading to you. The moon over 6th Street gives off a cool glow. The stars twinkle like there's a secret they know. The evening sky is especially bright. Hey Santa, please visit tonight. And here's a picture of Santa flying across a Texas skyline. This book has such wonderful pictures. You might see a city that you know or have visited before. Back to the story. The Christmas trees twinkle, the eggnog smells sweet. The stockings are out for the gifts, not your feet. The garlands and paper chains hang from the ceiling and give the whole household that Christmassy feeling. Excited young children with heads full of wishes leave large Christmas cookies and carrots on dishes. They scurry upstairs, for they've heard it is said that Santa Claus comes once you're asleep on your bed. In Dallas, the yawns become stronger and stronger. The children of Plano can't stay up much longer. From Fort Worth to Lubbock and San Antone too, they're soon sleeping soundly, all children but you. You stand at your window and gaze at the sky with hopes that you'll see Santa's sleigh whizzing by. You almost nod off and see movement ahead. A flurry of white and some flashes of red. You jump up and down as the shape becomes clear. Hey Santa, my home's over here. But something is wrong. There are sparks everywhere. The sleigh twists and turns as it swoops through the air. And here's a picture of the sleigh twisting and turning. I wonder what's happening. What do you think would make a sleigh twist and turn like that? Well, back to the story so we could find out. You're wide awake now. You've had such a fright. There's no chance of sleep till you know he's all right. You think about Santa, his reindeer, and sleigh. Hey Santa, I hope you're okay. Yes, Santa is fine. He is in Zilker Park, replacing the fuse for his sleigh in the dark. He tugs on the rein, shouting, "Up, up, away," and hits the ignition, which starts up his sleigh. And here's a picture of the sleigh flying over the Christmas tree in Zilker Park. If you've lived in Austin, I hope you've had the opportunity to visit Zilker Park and the Christmas Trail of Lights. And even if you don't live in this city, it's a wonderful place to visit. There's a Christmas tree that's lighted, and you can stand in the middle of it and look up to the top and turn around, and your eyes almost pop. But I've gotten away from the story. Let me get back to the book. With magical speed only Santa possesses, he visits well over 1,000 addresses. From Longview to Midland, delivering toys, he visits each house without making a noise. Now Santa has been to all houses but one. He can't go back home till this last house is done. It's your house, of course, but you're still quite awake. He circles above as he takes a small break, and that's when you see him. You know he's all right. Your head hits the pillow. You're out like a light. He lands on the roof to the sound of your snores. It's Santa, it's Santa, he's coming indoors. And here's a picture of Rudolph and Santa on top of your rooftop. And the story continues. But arg! You wake up and you jump to your feet. You're sure you forgot to give Santa a treat. Will Santa leave presents for someone so rude? You must go downstairs and make sure he has food. You enter the kitchen and turn on the light, not spotting the figure who ducks out of sight. You're still half asleep, so you don't find it weird that the broom has a hat and a coat and a beard. I hope you can see this picture. It's of Santa Claus holding a broom and trying to hide behind the broom. And that child doesn't see Santa at all. And the story continues. You get out the cookies, still rubbing your eyes, too blurry to make out his clever disguise. You open the fridge door and don't spot the broom as it sweeps past you into the family room. Do you see Santa sweeping past the doorway? I always try to be very quiet in each home I visit on Christmas Eve and Christmas night. The story continues. With a plate in your hands, you head off to bed. You're feeling sleepy. You don't even see a sight that would have made your heart skipping a beat. The curtains have sprouted 2 Santa-sized feet. Do you see the Santa-sized feet peeking out from under the curtains? Still sleepy, you head back to bed with a smile. The panic is over. It's all been worthwhile. You climb up the staircase, not once looking back, as a chuckling Santa takes toys from his sack. Now Santa is leaving. His sleigh races high. It sparkles and fizzles and lights up the sky. The Arlington streetlights glow dim in the night. Hey Santa, please have a good flight. Soon Santa leaves wonderful Texas behind, where children are lovely and grown-ups are kind. And then he booms loudly, his voice full of cheer. Ho, 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 Texas, I'll see you next year. And here's Santa Claus flying over Texas and wishing everyone in Texas a Merry Christmas. This story is Santa's Sleigh is on its way to Texas, a Christmas adventure, written by Eric James and illustrated by Robert Dunn. Do you remember we talked about the word illustrated? That identifies the artist who has created the pictures that go along to tell the story. Well, there are so many wonderful Christmas stories this time of year from the North Pole. We've just finished the Reindeer Games. You know the song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and how because Rudolph was different when he first showed his red nose, the reindeer wouldn't let him play. Well, the Reindeer Games are part of Christmas training. From Thanksgiving through Christmas the 23rd, the elves, led by Ralph the Elf, my #1 right-hand elf, The elves lead the reindeer in training to fly around the skies on Christmas Eve. And the reindeer games have been invented by the elves, some by the reindeer themselves, to help them get their muscles ready for the long flights. Sometimes they go on 4 legs, sometimes they hop on 3. There's even one where they get up on their hind legs and dance and throw a frisbee. Did you know that reindeer can throw frisbees? Oh, yes, they can. Would you like to know how? I'll tell you a secret. It's Christmas magic, and it's wonderful to watch. Well, the games are underway, and the reindeer are learning how to play new games this year to help them be ever ready for Christmas Eve. Now, I know that you're getting ready for Christmas too, and I understand that you've sent some questions to me. So let me get my tablet computer here, and whoops, I'm going to need help from an elf because the questions just flew off the page. Sometimes we have a little bit of snow static here in Texas like we do in the North Pole, and I want to make sure that I open up the right window. So in just a moment, an elf is going to come help me. We're going to pass along the pad. Thank you very much. And here come the questions. The first question is from Sophia W. at Meyer Elementary in Lamar, CISD. And the question is, do you or your elves ever get gifts at Christmas? Oh, thank you so much for asking. Yes, we always get gifts at Christmas. Many times I'm surprised on my Christmas flight as I go into the homes on Christmas Eve night and find cookies and treats waiting for the reindeer and me. And sometimes Mrs. Claus has snuck something under the tree, from the tree to the sleigh, just to surprise me between stops. And after I get back from making all the rounds on Christmas Eve, and the elves have been working so hard, on December the 25th and 26th, we have a North Pole Community Christmas party and we exchange gifts. The next question is from City H, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name, City A at Valley Ranch Elementary in Coppell. How do your reindeer fly? Oh, they fly very well, and they've learned to fly by Christmas magic. That's what enables them. You know the difference between reindeer and caribou? They're very much alike, and they're related too. But caribou can't fly, but reindeer can, and that's how you can tell the difference between a reindeer and a caribou. From Connor J. in Jefferson Elementary in Menasha, Wisconsin. Ho, 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 ho. So the questions aren't just from Texas this year. This one is, what is your favorite book? Oh goodness, I have so many books that I enjoy reading. The one that I shared with you a few moments ago is one of my favorite Christmas stories, and I always like to hear The Night Before Christmas. But my favorite of all time Christmas book is probably Miracle on 34th Street. Now the next question is from Mrs. Garant's class at University Park Elementary in Highland Park ISD. Do you have any neighbors at the North Pole? Oh, yes. All of the elves are my neighbors, and some of our extended family live not far away, and they help out making sure that everything's ready come Christmas Day. Mrs. Ray and Mrs. Caldwell's first graders at Baxter in Midlothian, Texas, ask, where is Rudolph right now? Well, I know where Rudolph is supposed to be. He should be helping us in the Reindeer Games and the training for pre-Christmas. As he leads the reindeers in flight, Rudolph is one of the leaders that the elves and I count on to help the reindeer be all honed and ready, toned and fit and healthy to fly on Christmas night. Zoe J. from Webb Elementary in McKinney ISD asks, how big is your toy factory? Oh goodness, I don't know how many hundreds of square feet, actually thousands at this point. It is huge. Now, McKinney, as I recall, is not far from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you have a large stadium in Dallas where the Dallas Cowboys play football. If you've ever seen that stadium or a picture of it, multiply it by about 5 or 6 times, and that's how big the workshop is that you can see from land at the North Pole. Addison T. from Beasley Elementary in Lamar CISD asks, why doesn't Mrs. Claus go with you on the sleigh? She really does not like to fly in sleighs. She prefers airplanes. And on Christmas Eve, she's helping Ralph the elf, my number 1 elf, make sure that our global guidance system is working all right. We have some distribution stops around the planet if we need to pick up some extra toys, or if one of the reindeer gets tired or turns a hoof. They make sure that all of our emergency procedures are all ready so that nothing disturbs Christmas Eve. Jacob in from Royce City, Texas, from Vernon Elementary says, What do I eat for breakfast? I like scrambled eggs and French toast and pancakes and cinnamon toast and lots of wonderful hot coffee. Robert R. from Ysleta ISD. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, Robert, but you know who you are. You're asking, what has been the funniest snack you've been left by a child? The funniest snack. I think one time when there were 2 plates of Brussels sprouts, there was one for the reindeer and one for me. And while reindeer love Brussels sprouts, it's not my favorite vegetable. But I ate it, and Mrs. Claus was pleased because she knows that all vegetables are good for all of us. Gustavo Sanchez from Shands Elementary in Mesquite, Texas asked, what is my favorite technology? I like the technology that helps people enjoy Christmas more. Technology that helps us learn. Technology that opens up the world of communication so that we can make friends across the globe. Those are my favorite kind of Christmas apps. And I'm excited about the ones that TCEA is sharing with me this year, and I know you will be too. Arian from Yoakum Intermediate School asked, do I have any other pets beside reindeer? That's a wonderful question, but let me clarify something, please. The reindeer aren't pets. We work together for Christmas and for the Christmas good. I have a little kitten who's a pet. Her name is Sarah. But the reindeer, they are much more like friends and co-workers than they are pets. Isabella in from Bisley Elementary asked, do you put up a Christmas tree in your house? Isabella, because of my busy schedule from September through November getting ready for Christmas, Mrs. Claus and I on Thanksgiving weekend put up the Christmas tree. Now I'll tell you the truth. What she really does most of the tree putting up. Oh goodness, that's not good English grammar. She does most of the decorating and setting the tree in the family room, and she saves some special ornaments for me to hang on the branches. Pablo G. from REL Washington Elementary School in Ysleta ISD. I'm going to have the Elves look that up on the map. The location is spelled Ysleta, and I want to make sure that I know how to say it and pronounce it the correct way. But Pablo, you ask, am I a Pokemon fan? Oh, yes, I am. Are you? Ann Whitney Elementary in Hamilton ISD, Mrs. Armstrong's class, ask, is writing important with your job? Oh yes, even with all the technology as we use iPads and tablet computers and all kind of keyboards, we also still use handwritten notes and index cards because sometimes the ideas and the task lists come so quickly that we want to write them down so we don't lose a good idea that will help make Christmas extra special for you or one of the other boys and girls or adults around the world. So writing is very important. Oh, and please be careful when you write your Christmas list and notes to me. Sometimes your writing is in a hurry, you see, and it's hard to read, and I want to read it so I get everything just right for you on Christmas Eve night. Sophia M. from Hillside Academy for Excellence in Garland, Texas asks, why don't you ever wake kids up when you come to their houses? Why, Sophia, if I woke the children up, they might not get back to sleep and they'd be tired on Christmas Day. Everybody needs a good night's sleep. Terry B. from Navarro Elementary School in Navarro ISD asks, what do the elves like to eat? Well, that's a difficult question to answer because there are elves who like some things and other elves who don't like those things at all. For example, a moment ago when I mentioned Brussels sprouts and how I don't particularly care for them, Mrs. Claus thinks Brussels sprouts are delicious. Some elves like cheese, some like bread, some like chicken, some like turkey instead. It just depends on the individual elf and what their favorite ideas are about eating. Pedro from Sorter's Mill Elementary in New Caney ISD asks, what is my favorite color? I'll give you a hint. It's one of the 2 colors of my suit, and it's not the color white, which means it's the color red. Matthew M. from Reagan Elementary in Leander ISD asks, how did your elves get their pointy ears? Well, not every elf has pointy ears, and the ones that do, it's a genetic trait that goes back centuries and centuries. I think it's because there was a little elf who didn't come inside to play when his mother called him inside, and she picked his ear and pulled just a little too tight, and it made the point stand up straight and right. Mrs. Armstrong's class at Ann Whitney Elementary in Hamilton ISD asked, when you were younger, what were some of your favorite books to read? Oh, I like to read almost anything, but when I was younger, let me think. There's an American author from a generation or two ago named Mark Twain. Do you know his writings? He wrote about Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and he wrote about traveling around the world. I like Mark Twain stories. From the third grade students in Mrs. Angela's class at Silver Lake Elementary, do you have any time off like during the summer, and if so, what do you do? Mrs. Claus and I enjoy traveling, so we take some vacations during the off season. We also enjoy staying home for homecations, or as some of you parents will say, for staycations. And on that, I like to work in the yard and play with the reindeer and stretch and read and write, and I also like to paint. So those are the kind of things that I do on vacation. Ella from Alba Golden Elementary asked, how much does it snow at the North Pole? Well, if you talked to Ralph the Elf today in the blizzard conditions up north, he would say, it snows too much. But averaged out across the year, I will tell you that it snows just enough. Camellia S. from University Ute Park Elementary in Highland Park asks, do I have a favorite elf? Not really. Each elf has his and her own personality, and each one are special, just like each of you have your own personality and are special too. Ms. De Silva's class from Lago Vista Elementary writes, what is your favorite type of cookie? Oh, I was so hoping someone would ask that. I like almost every kind of cookie except for Brussels sprout flavored cookies. And yes, there is a Brussels sprout flavored cookie. Mrs. Claus found the recipe. She made some to trick me one year. She has a wonderful sense of humor, and I ate them to please her, but they weren't very good. But my favorite cookie of all are gingerbread cookies. What does Mrs. Claus do? Asked Ms. Marquet's class from Eastwood Heights Elementary. She's my right-hand helper next to Ralph the Elf. She also makes sure that I remember every elf's birthday and anniversary and helps plan all the parties to remind people how special they are all through the year. Mrs. Grifford from Glen Hope Elementary, Grapevine, Colleyville, asked, once you were on the naughty list, can you work your way back to the nice list? Yes, you can. And Miss Belzel's first grade class from Reagan Elementary School asked, how do you travel around the world without your reindeer getting tired? Well, I mentioned the Reindeer Games where they train to be fit and healthy for Christmas Eve. That helps everyone have a good start. But we've also learned that if we make some stops around the planet on Christmas Eve with some relief reindeer, that helps any of them from getting too tired. So usually we'll make 7 to 12 stops on the Christmas Eve night to change out some of the reindeer so they're not worn out from the flight. Mrs. A's preschool class at St. Martin Lutheran School asked, how long have you been Santa Claus? Oh, how long have I been a Santa Claus now? It seems like just a few years, but it's been a very long time. What did I look like as a child? Asked Alex F. from Navarro Elementary School, Navarro ISD. Well, Alex, I might have looked something like you, except without the white beard. Ireland B. from Louisville ISD asked, what do you like more, candy canes or chocolate? Chocolate. I like chocolate a lot. If there's a house with no chimney, how do you get in? That question comes from David B. at Bowie Elementary. If there's a house with no chimney, how do I get in? Well, there's always a way. Would you like to know how? I'll tell you, but it's a secret. Can you keep a secret? Shh. Christmas magic. That's how I get in. Joy H. from Louisville ISD asked, Is it true that the elf on the shelf reports to you about our behavior each night? Joy, yes, it's true. Now, I don't always hear the reports firsthand. Each elf on the shelf has a supervisor that she or he reports to, and I get summary reports each week on how everyone is behaving. Isabel S. from REL Washington Elementary School in There's That Wonderful City. If one of my elves can be free for a minute, I wish you would help me learn how to pronounce the name of this school. YSLETA. I so want to say that correctly for the boys and girls. And the question is, who is your favorite superhero? Oh, I like them all, the ones that run fast and can jump so tall. And here comes my elf with a helpful suggestion.
Santa, you have been saying it correctly.
Iselta?
Isleta.
Isleta. Thank you so much. It's so handy to have elves that travel with me and can answer my questions. Do I know Jack Frost? Asked Julia M. from Glen Hope Elementary in the Grapevine Colleyville ISD. Yes, I do. I know Jack and Jill Frost and their whole family. They are wonderful snow people. Carolina G. from Gutierrez Elementary and United ISD says, do you really spend all of your time sleeping after Christmas? Oh no, I'll take a nap when I get home, but then the Christmas parties begin, and we enjoy sharing presents and telling the Christmas stories and hearing how everyone is looking forward to the springtime. So I get plenty of sleep, but I don't sleep all the time. Swapdil S. from Valley Ranch Elementary and Capel ISD asks, why do you travel at night instead of the morning time? Santa Claus has always traveled at night, so the gifts can be delivered while you're asleep, and that's when Christmas magic works its best. How old is Rudolph? Asked Landon from JBE in Star City, Arkansas. Well, the current Rudolph is 73 or 74. Now, the Rudolph that you sing about in the song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, is actually the current Rudolph's great times, several times great-grandfather. You see, the reindeer pass their names on as a family legacy. Andrew N. from Alba Golden Elementary asks, is there anything else in your sleigh besides you and your bag? Oh yes, there's an emergency repair kit, there are communication tools, and there's always a mug of hot coffee and a bottle of water and some apples to snack on during the flight. Amelia R. from Louisville ISD asks, how do you know all the kids' name in the world? Well, we have an extensive database, and the elves help me learn which gifts need to go to the child so everyone gets the right gift. Esma B. and Rebecca G. from Hillside Academy in Garland, Texas ask, what do you want for Christmas? That's such a kind question. The best answer I can give you is I want you to have a good Christmas and enjoy making memories with your family and friends. Now, if you want a particular item for me for Christmas, well, here's what I would suggest. I enjoy reading. And it's been such a joy to read a Christmas story with you this year and to share your questions. My elves tell me that the schedule says that our time together is almost through, but let me answer one more question before we're through. What kind of milk do you like? Asked Raoul from Webb Elementary in McKinney. Raoul, I like cold milk in a frosty glass. Merry Christmas, boys and girls.
Santa, we want to thank you again so very much for taking time during this really busy season to be with us here today at TCEA. It meant so much to me, and I know to all of the boys and girls who joined in. We wish you safe travels back to the North Pole, and would you give a big Texas hello to Mrs. Claus and all the elves. Boys and girls, wherever you are, would you please wave goodbye to Santa?
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas from Austin, Texas.
And teachers and family, we just want you to know that we've recorded this chat with Santa. We'll have it on our website at www.tcea.org/Santa in case you want to watch it again with your family. Merry Christmas to all of you from TCEA.
Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas.